Good evening. Welcome to Flirting with Realities. This is the digital video of our podcast. And I am the digital self of Eric, and this is the digital self of Carol. None of this is real. This is all made up. And this is what we are making up. All of this, and you are making up watching it. Everything's made up.
Just all made up.
Well, that's a little weird, but even if it's true, I guess. But welcome to this week's podcast of Flirting with Realities.
Woo!
And if you didn't catch it because I was being weird, I'm Eric, and that's Carol. And we're just here to kind of push ourselves a little bit and do a podcast. And I think I'll speak for myself, but I enjoy the podcast, even if nobody watches it. I think it's just kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's I don't know. I guess it's kind of interesting because like we kind of have some cool things happening in life. Like abundance is just kind of taking over, and
yes, it has.
Things are getting a little crazy, and it's just kind of made me realize that in the past I've known this, but it's becoming more true. Like I think you really have to think about what you want, because everything kind of turns out what you put your energy into. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, your intention is, for me too, has been very important.
well, it's super weird. I was trying to talk to my kids about it and say, you can do anything you want to do. You just have to figure out what do you want to do, and then you go that direction. You start working on that. It's like if you want to be the CEO of McDonald's, maybe you start working at McDonald's, you start working on that. But you don't like talk about how you're going to be the CEO of McDonald's and work at 7-Eleven and play video games all day. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to do something, you go in that direction and work on it. But I don't know, I guess it's kind of a trip because I think you and I have like really worked on like what does a perfect life look like?
Yeah.
I mean, like not like, hey man, like what would be pretty cool? Like you want a good job and a nice car and like a house and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That's what I want. Like, no, we've like really refined it and said like, this is exactly what we want. And we're on the verge of like, we're going to be there in a minute.
What's so amazing is that our idea is exactly the same thing, because I hazard to guess that most couples wouldn't be wanting the same future.
Yeah, we're so lucky when it comes to that. We're so fortunate that I guess we have each other.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Like we do want everything we want to work on, everything we want to do, everything we want to be is like, it's all the same. Like,
it's insane how, I mean, from the beginning, it's been like that we're just, even to the point, I like things that you like couches and armoires and the way things look, it's just very unusual.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do we really even disagree on?
I mean, I think we have a few differences, but I'm not even sure if they're big disagreements.
I don't think we disagree on anything that affects the both of us at the same time. I think anything we disagree on affects only you.
Yeah.
Like you don't like, whatever, fish.
Yeah.
You like fish and I like fish. So we disagree, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You just don't eat fish. And I eat less fish because you don't eat fish. But I could still eat fish. It's not like I can't go to the store and just buy some fish.
Yeah. You do eat fish.
Yeah, in fact, I should get some more fish. I look at it every time we go shopping and I'm like, it's like one of those things I never get around to. Plus, I think if you eat fish, to me, like it has to go with rice, and I don't eat rice, and so it's kind of
Yeah.
Maybe I should get some like halibut or some salmon because our hydroponics is flowing, like
It's
abundantly flowing.
amazing. You know, we should insert it at the end or something of our video so they can see.
I think they're just gonna have to wait because we got a whole video coming out on it.
Oh, well, you're just gonna have to wait.
But so hydroponics is flowing, like crazy abundant flowing. For breakfast, I'm eating eggs with pretty much as much, like I eat bok choy, Swiss chard, spinach. Those are pretty much what I put in my eggs, and it's so flavorful, so good.
I've been juicing except for the last 2 days, but literally I just am doing probably about a cup and a half of, you know, basically what he just said. Spinach, arugula, bok choy, kale, Swiss chard. Maybe I'll clip some lettuce in there just to, you know, get rid of a little bit of it. But definitely could tell like it's better than a cup of coffee almost.
Oh, really? Energy wise?
Yeah.
Oh, you can feel it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But anyway, the hydroponics so abundant. We had to have a talk tonight. Kind of had to have a talk about, hey, like some of this needs to be like eaten. You know, it's the things we're not eating. Like there's mustard greens and the lettuce that really need to be addressed because they're not being eaten. But so anyway, I made a salad tonight. Amazing! It's so good. It's not like a regular salad. But anyway, the whole point, I guess, is maybe I should get some salmon and make like a salmon salad. That'd be really good.
I bet it would be very good for someone who likes fish.
I have a dream that one day you're going to have fishing and be like, why have I waited so long?
You know, I can eat halibut, but anything else, I haven't waited. I've had these things. I was from Alaska, very fishy place.
Super fishy.
Yeah, super fishy.
But yeah, so living in abundance, we've got I think I had 6 eggs again today. So we've gone from like 2 maybe-ish eggs a day. The rest of the chickens are starting to lay. So we've got 6 a day, which might have a talk about that too. Like I think we're getting close to being done buying eggs from the store.
That's exciting.
Yeah, if we're getting like 6 eggs a day, I usually have like 6 for breakfast, and then occasionally I can have 5 more in like a drink that I make.
I have 3 to 4 for breakfast if I have eggs, usually.
3 to 4, so we're looking at 9 a day, probably at least. So I mean,
so
not far off.
We're talking about these things that make it to where you don't have to really go to the store anymore. But how does that really make you feel having these things available to you?
Well, it makes me feel many different things. It depends, like, what are you talking about? Like, there's a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's stuff we've covered, though. It's like, I guess I feel very grateful, extremely grateful to be able to have nutritious food. Like, nutrition is a huge deal. But I mean, it's just like there's a whole bunch going on with gratitude. Like, nutrition's amazing, but so is like just having food in general is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't even think it applies to nutrition, but when you literally take a pair of scissors and you walk over there and you cut your food and then you put it in a bowl and you're eating it within 5 minutes, that is the definition of fresh. Like when I put stuff in my eggs in the morning, it's a definite, like it doesn't give. The only way it could get fresher is if I ate it while it's still in the hydroponics.
And I don't know, for those of you who did not see the specific episode where we discussed how I found out that all produce is frozen. I didn't know that. I mean, I don't think you knew that.
You think they freeze lettuce?
It's all frozen.
Even lettuce? Like lettuce as a real... Well, me and my mom were actually talking about that. Do you remember before we even started hydroponics, like I was like really enjoying like putting lettuce on things.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the point where I was like, I'm not buying lettuce anymore. I can't eat this. Because think about this. Like, I don't know if this will make sense to anybody but us, but think about if you buy like some lettuce in a bag and you go home and you start eating it and then it's a little bit slimy in the package. Like, think about that. Why do you think it's slimy? Because it's fucking rotting. It's in the beginning stage of rotting.
Yeah.
You're eating food that is dead for a long time and it's rotting. To think about that's insane, because we can go cut stuff off of our hydroponics, wash it, put it in the fridge, and how many days can it sit in the fridge before it gets to that point? You know, and we don't even go there. Like, we don't, like, to me that's like, that's gross now. Like, thinking about putting salad in the fridge for a day that I didn't eat is like, I'd rather just have it fresh. But that salad that I didn't eat that's in the fridge is way fresher than anything you're buying at the store. So it's I don't know, man. It's like a different reality.
It's revolutionized how I feel about eating and thinking about the way I used to eat. Like, even pistachios with, like, you know, some sort of spicy flavoring on them, or, you know, things that I thought were healthy.
Yeah.
It's like completely shifted my thought process.
Yeah, I mean, it's like eating frozen TV dinners, I guess, and then going into like a cooked meal. It's like it's that different, but then it's like going from a cooked meal to a homegrown meal.
Yeah, so I feel different about even oatmeal and anything processed. It just I feel differently about it than I used to. It's not that I'm never going to eat those things, but it's significantly reduced.
Yeah, it's just so different. It's like mind-blowingly different. Like, if you got lettuce at the store and then you just pulled it off the wall here, it's like it's a different reality. It's not the same.
Mm-mm.
But you know, and then getting these eggs from our own chickens is just like it's the same thing. You know, I was thinking about it. And you know, you gotta, if you have your own chickens, you gotta wash the eggs. And I was sitting there washing some of our eggs, and I was thinking, like, man, like, I think this is where people try to scare you. Is they're like, well, you gotta wash the eggs good, or you'll get salmonella, and like, you know, it came out of a chicken's butt. Like, you don't want to just like crack an egg and put chicken butt in your food. You know what I mean? And like, so I'm like, oh, maybe I should really like pay attention to washing these eggs, and I should wash these eggs good and make sure there's no bacteria or whatever going in my food. And then it occurred to me, I was like, I have never like had this requirement from store-bought eggs. I have never had the concern of like, did somebody wash my store-bought eggs as well as I'm being, you know what I mean? Like, what if there's some person there, some immigrant making minimum wage that hates their job, and they're like, fuck washing these eggs, man.
Or what if it's a machine that malfunctioned and didn't wash them and nobody knows? I mean, there's recalls all the time. Yeah, for sure.
But when you're not handling your food from beginning to end, hey man, you don't know what's going on with that. You have no idea what's going on with that.
For sure.
So it's like, it's awesome to know. I know where all my food's come. Well, not all of it. I know where a lot of my food's coming from.
Well, your major nutrition is, you know, where it's coming from. Yeah, for sure. It's exciting.
Yeah. But I guess going back to that, like, how do I feel What do we say? How do I feel about just hydroponics?
All of it. All of this abundance of food that you have that's being sourced from your own home.
Yeah, so I guess it's gratitude for nutrition, for freshness, the healthy, the flavor is insane. And I tell people I'm not on Facebook anymore, but I still dabble, I guess. And I posted something on Facebook the other day, and it was like, I feel like this is such a crazy thought, but I'm like 46, and I realized not long ago, because we're growing all our herbs too. We're trying to, like, it's like we're a little bit behind on that, so like still trying to figure that out. So some of the herbs are still growing, but it occurred to me that it's like processed foods and like whole foods and everything. If you want to look at it in that way, processed foods to me is like the equivalent of like making a meal with garlic, salt, and some like ground oregano, or whatever. Just like you go get like spices in a jar. Like, to me, that's processed food. But now what I'm realized is like whole food is like, if you want your food to taste like something, you put more food in it. So you put some basil or some rosemary or a pepper or whatever. The exception I'm giving is salt, though. Like, salt still goes. But salt and pepper I let pass. But it's like, why would you put garlic salt from a jar into your food when you could just put garlic, fresh garlic, like literally fresh garlic, or like a garlic onion even? Why wouldn't? And I started thinking about that, and I'm like, does your body naturally not just want that kind of shit in there? Like, is that not what diversity is and what nutrition is having everything in the world, like, eventually in your food, and you're just getting all this different type of nutrition? Because it's like, there's people that do like a carnivore diet where they're just eating meat, but I don't know. I guess it works, but I guess one train of thought that I think of is like, you should just have like everything, because it gives you everything at that point. You have all your vitamins, all your minerals. You're consuming every single thing that is on this earth.
Yeah, I think ideally, for sure.
But if you're getting like your garlic flavor from garlic salt and not from garlic, I don't know that garlic salt would have that nutrition. And if it does, it's like so processed that.
Well, see, I think that's what we're coming to the conclusion of, is what is being lost in any sort of processing. Just like, you didn't know that white rice is enriched.
We figure that out. It is.
I see it at the store all the time.
Oh, really?
It is. It's enriched. So something that should be like, I didn't know that. So anytime you're eating white rice, it's like just enriched, like flour is. We don't know what these processes do to the food.
Well, see, that's I guess that's what I thought. I thought white rice was a genetic type of rice. I didn't know it was like, is white rice like a refined brown rice? Is that what we're saying?
I believe so. I can't say that for sure. But just another thing I've been thinking about is fat-free things. What are we doing to get these things to be fat-free?
You're putting sugar in it, and you're taking the fat out.
It's all just very.
It's like, that's the hilarious part.
There's a process to that, though. It's not like you're just leaving the food natural as it is.
No, that's the most hilarious product in the whole grocery store to me is yogurt. They're all fat-free, man. Delicious and like super good for you. It's all fat-free. It's like got like graham crackers and gummy bears and shit in it, but it's fat-free. Like, stop it. Get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the yogurt section, it's ridiculous. Peanut butter and jelly, and like they make the most ridiculous yogurt. And I guarantee
It's funny.
the peanut butter and jelly yogurt has fat-free on the label. Just like Red Vines. Red Vines are like, hey, we're fat-free.
They are fat-free.
Come eat us. Yeah. Never mind
But
the sugar.
yeah, the yogurt section is a little, there's M&Ms and M&M yogurt.
Oh, yeah.
All sorts of sugary things. You got to be careful with that. There's plenty of fat-free, not plenty. There's a few fat-free options that are also low to no sugar.
But here, why don't you just eat
you
got
to be careful. Yeah, I mean,
that's the funniest part is like the fat is good for you. Eat the fat. Not only does it taste better, but it's good for you. But we're all taking it out and saying it's bad for you.
We've gone through that big fat-free thing that everybody was pushing for a while. So I think people are still kind of looking at that as like a problem.
I mean, whatever, man. It's crazy to me, but.
So what else are you feeling?
So it's just a ton of gratitude, but it's also it's super empowering. I mean, think about we're talking about once our chickens are laying 10 eggs a day, which should be, man, in a week or two.
Yeah, likely.
That means breakfast is covered, which is eggs and hydroponic vegetables. And then nighttime, it's going to turn into salads, which is covered, hydroponic vegetables. And then we want to add like some beef or something, like a locally grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And, I mean, if you're eating, say, a hamburger or a steak or something, that's the only thing you're paying for the whole entire day, which is like, whoa. So you just took one of the biggest bills in your life and you just went done, squashed.
It's really, that's what I was going to say is like been kind of blowing my mind is we have our own little economy going on here. Yeah. Like it's a self-sustaining, sufficient like place. Like we have our own little town.
Yeah, it's insane. Like this kombucha right here is amazing. Tastes great. And I think I figured out this is like 7 cents a bottle.
Yeah. See, this isn't. Yeah.
And but I've been drinking kombucha for years. And kombucha, what is kombucha? You're doing it's $4 a bottle.
$4, yeah.
$4 for a bottle of kombucha. And I'm making them for 7 cents. But it's like we tightened up, and I think we were like thinking tightening up was going to be a little bit painful. I don't know that it ever was, but we were doing Starbucks quite often too, and I drink cheap Starbucks. It's like $3.70 something. But now I'm doing coffee from home too. I do coffee, like cold brew coffee, and you know what? I don't miss Starbucks at all. I don't miss store-bought kombucha. I sure as shit don't miss vegetables from the store.
I don't.
Not going to miss eggs from the store. It's like it's so funny because these horrible things that people have done to us to put us in this situation has made our lives so much better.
Right? It really has.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's funny because I was reading this guy's thing on Facebook. He's a friend of mine, and he's like, this is he's deep into the we're getting screwed kind of thing. And his post was, don't think for a minute that this isn't all on purpose. And I was like, man, like I just said to him, I said, if you turned off all your devices and didn't leave your house, would it even be happening at all? Something that we talk about. And that's kind of where you and I have went, is like everything out there has gotten so crazy that we said, well, we're not part of your thing anymore. We're not doing your thing. We're not doing your food. We're not doing your craziness. We're going to bring it all back home, and we're going to empower ourselves. And if you did want to control us and you did want to scare us and you wanted to screw us over, you screwed up because you just made our lives way better.
It's insane how much better it is. Yeah. Like if there's anything, and I'm shouting among the rooftops of everything that we're doing, the letting go of the devices, me not being on social media, the
that too,
sauna, cold bath, breath work, meditation, the way everything, the food, I can't even think of it all. I have never felt so empowered, amazing, happy. Yeah, all of it. I forgot our morning rituals. I mean, it's all just
abundant.
And it just keeps coming and coming.
Yeah, it does. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's the wave hasn't even splashed us in the face yet.
No,
it's all coming.
It is.
So I mean, just to go back to it, so it's like, the chickens and the hydroponics and everything, and just everything that's happening is like it's overwhelming, and it's you and I were out and about and screwing around, and I think that's actually something else that's been giant in my life is, if you go back a couple podcasts that we did, I talked about as I finally acknowledged that I was having some negative self-talk, and I addressed that. And one of the ways I addressed it was by finding gratitude in my life. And like, ever since then, like, it's just been like, whoa, like, this is so like almost hard to deal with. And so I think that's where a lot of my abundance and feel good comes from is I am like, I literally changed the way I think. Now I think in abundance all day long. Well, that's part of my morning routine is to start out my day with meditation and then gratitude. And that's the thing is, if I could tell anybody anything, like if anybody's watching this, one thing that kind of slapped me in the face was, thinking about abundance and happiness. And the thing is I think most of us actually already have it, but we don't look at it. We ignore it, which is insane.
Yeah.
And there's somebody going, oh, well, how am I happy and abundant? Like, my boyfriend just broke up with me, and then, man, it's because you're focusing on these other things. Like,
well, it's hard when you're going through something like that, but if you switch your mindset to be like, oh, my boyfriend just broke up with me, this is like so many opportunities, like doors just opened. I mean, life can get like really crazy and exciting, but you're right to say that I think a lot of us in America, especially, don't know how fucking amazing we have it. And we're constantly being told we need more, and you're not happy unless you have this, or you look like this, or your body is this. But yet, if you take a look around, the abundance is insanely already there.
but it's so crazy. And that's what I was trying to talk to my kids yesterday, and I tried to tell them, I said, do you realize that you're some of the richest humans that have ever lived on the planet Earth, like ever? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah. I go, just because you live in the United States of America right now, you're one of the most abundant people in the world. And they're like, no. And I was like, and I don't know my facts, but I was like, do you know there is a significant amount of people that do not have clean water? Like,
Yeah.
just that. Like, how rich are you? Because you can go to your kitchen and you can turn on the sink and you could literally turn it on. You could leave it on all month long.
Yeah.
Literally. You could waste as much. You can go, for Christ's sakes, you can go water your grass. You pour water all over your grass so it looks green. That's how much water you have. Clean. That's clean drinking water.
Yeah.
And we take that for granted. I try to tell my kids that. I'm like, I don't know what percentage of people do not have clean water, but it's a
lot.
It's a lot. And then I go, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and I don't remember his name, but there's a dude that digs wells for people so they can have clean water. But he was talking about how most kids don't go to school, not because they don't have school, but they don't go to school because their family has to walk so many miles to go get water. And, they do the thing where they put a stick on their back and they carry 2 things of water on the side, or whatever they're doing. But they have to walk many miles to go get shitty water.
Yeah.
And so kids drop out of school so they can walk with their family to get shitty water.
I've actually heard that before.
They drop out of school
and
they don't go get water once a day. They're just walking back and forth all day long to get shitty water that they're going to drink and get diarrhea and die from.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about how bad your life is because you're on welfare and because you have a TV and you watch whatever the equivalent of like Ricky Lake is today. You watch The View or something all day long, and the government gives you a bunch of shit, and then you go to the store and you get free shit. Like, you want to talk about how bad your life? No. Why don't you go walk miles to get crappy ass water and then get diarrhea and die? Then you tell me how bad your life is.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it would be really awesome if every child could go see like a developing country.
But dude, I mean, back that up, like, well, I mean, like what? Go a couple hundred years back. You don't have to go back that far. That's my dad and his brothers and sisters were going to the bathroom in an outhouse.
Yeah, my grandma was.
That was my father.
Yeah.
This isn't his house.
Yeah.
This is where he lived. They went to the bathroom in an outhouse.
I'm pretty sure my dad did when they first moved to Alaska, but
my grandma
for a great length of time.
Yeah, my grandma wrote a book and she was stoked about her first house that she had with my grandpa. And it was like, I don't know, my numbers would be wrong, but it was like 600 square feet, a single room with a dirt floor. She had a dirt floor. Anybody who's watching this, I doubt you have a dirt floor unless you're in some other country, but you don't have a dirt floor. But this is the thing, is like, I need to get out of all this, but I already have abundance. I already have an amazing life. But you need to step back and you need to go, oh my God, look at everything I have. Yeah. Look at how crazy my life is. And that's what I'm saying, is anybody in the United States can probably say, like, okay, there's some people that have it pretty crappy, but hey man, you're not walking miles and miles to get crappy water, are you? Like, there's a lot to be grateful for, even if you're in a horrible situation.
Yeah, there's always ways that you can find abundance in your life.
Well, and this is what I was saying on that podcast a couple podcasts ago, was the point is if you look at all the, okay, so there's things in life that are good, there's things in life that are bad, and people choose which one they want to look at. Just look at good things. Just be happy. That's how you be happy. If you look at negative things, you're just negative. That's what I was trying to say is, we were talking about like changing your body, changing, like women getting facelifts or having to do their hair, having to do their nails, having to blah, 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 blah. Because that's where they're trying to get their pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
But that's not where it's at. It's all just in the thoughts in your head.
Yeah, it's not external, it's internal.
It's just thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
Just think good thoughts. You don't even have to get your hair done. You don't have to have your makeup. If you just think good thoughts.
Yeah.
That's really how simple it is. But we're all chasing this from a different external point of view, which is, I mean, we're talking about, we were talking the other day about people permanently changing their body.
Yeah.
That will never change the way, it'll never change your thoughts. Yeah. That will never change your thoughts. You can't be happy by changing your body.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially if you have body dysmorphia. Like, you like look, Michael Jackson. The guy, I don't think that guy was ever ended up happy with his face. I mean, I don't know what he did, but if he was in the pursuit of like happiness, like he failed.
Yeah. But you have it. I mean, Abraham Hicks talks about it all the time. Like, that's what you do. You focus on what is going to make you happy. Don't focus on, like, even if you're in a shitty relationship, or you're not in a shitty relationship, but you find yourself going, oh, he never washes the dishes, or why doesn't he ever help me out with the laundry? But I mean, do you look at, like, he always takes out the trash? He always opens the door for you? Just don't focus on all, like, these. We're, we're so focused on the wrong things. Focus on the things that you do have.
Yeah, I think that's what happiness is you think about what you do have.
Yeah.
Be grateful for what you have. Don't focus on what you don't have, or like you're saying, like especially in relationships, that's how you ruin a relationship. Is you go, he's not taking out the trash or whatever. It's like, yeah, but he went to work and he paid the mortgage.
Yeah.
And
You know what? Something I've been doing is for myself and not for anybody else. It's very selfish. I've been washing like any dish that I see most of the time, not always, probably 92% of the time. And I'm doing it for myself. And I know it seems weird, but I'm trying to do things like that throughout life and through the world, that I'm just doing something and not expecting anything in return. Just I'm just doing this for myself. And it actually makes a difference.
oh,
Because I don't sit there and go, that is your dish and I'm not washing it.
oh,
It's just this is here, I'm here, I'm just going to wash it.
well, I think that's a sticky one because there are people that will take advantage of you, and like if you go clean their dish, like, oh, so if I leave my
Yeah,
dish in the sink, she'll clean it for me. So,
but
haha.
there there has to be some time where you take responsibility for yourself. And if you are allowing yourself to be taken advantage of, that's something that you need to look at. You should be able to, in life, I believe that you are capable of getting to a point in your life where you are giving because you want to become a better person and be of service, but also you have to be responsible for yourself. Like, I'm not going to just, like, if someone was like, you need to wash all these, that's just not going to happen with me because I have boundaries and I respect myself. So let me just say I'm doing that in our house. I'm like not like going to your mom's house and washing your dishes or
Yeah. I'm just my only point I was trying to make is like I hope you feel like you're in a situation where you can do that because that's actually what uh, to me that's a very important part of what makes a good relationship is like I think you should wash those dishes. Like I think if you see a dish, you should wash it, but you should know that I'm going to wash your dish if I see it too. And that's how it should work as reciprocation because I think it's super weird when people are like, I'm not washing his dish. And then he's like, fuck her, I'm not washing her dish. And then there's
yeah.
like this, like nobody's working together now. It's like, need the opposite. Need like, hey, I will do anything for you because I know you will do anything for me.
Well, it's really important to me to not be transactional in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I've just been making more of an effort to do like things that I see and just it's not a transaction to me. It's not like I'm not going to remember it. It's just And I'm doing it for myself. Like I said, I'm not doing it for anybody else.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I think sometimes, most of the times, in my experiences, that it turns transactional because people don't reciprocate.
Well, I think this is where you really need to take responsibility for yourself. And it's kind of like if you decide to give to charity, like it's your choice. It's not the charity's choice. Like I have nothing to bring to you because I'm making this choice to do this. And I think people need to, and I'm, again, you have to evaluate your circumstance. Is someone taking advantage of you? Like if you were taking advantage of me, I need to evaluate that. I'm not talking about being in that sort of circumstance, but at no point, if I'm being taken advantage, would I bring this to you because I chose to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess just going back to it, it's really nice to have you in my life because, like, that's what I'm saying is like, I don't, you know, you just have to watch who you let in your life because
You do.
who wants to think about like, man, is he screwing me over on this? Like, is he doing this on purpose? Like, and then they're taking advantage. Like, I don't have time for that. I don't
Yeah,
want to be around anybody like that
I
at
don't
all.
either. No, I don't either. And I have to say, I don't even look at and see if you wash my dishes. You do so much that, it's just not a thing.
Wash your dishes all the time.
I'm, but
All
I'm
the time.
saying
Haven't you paid attention?
I'm not like going, oh my God, I've watched 600 dishes and he's washed one. It's just not something, it's not something that's happening.
Well, but I guess that's my problem is because I do believe in like, if you want a successful relationship, you just do your best. You do everything all the time. And I have high expectations for that person in my life to do the same. And if you don't, then I get upset because you should be doing the same thing I'm doing because that's how you make a relationship work. And that's why I've always gotten caught up in situations because I'll just give you all I got. And then when I turn around and I go like, well, like what's happening? You're not doing anything. Then that's when all the problems start. And so it's kind of a setup on my end, but at the same time, like I'm fine with it because I wouldn't live my life any other way. I don't want to watch and like you're saying transactional. I don't want to keep track of what you're doing, what I'm doing. You just keep contributing and I'll keep contributing and we both try our best. And if you're not down with that plan, well then, this might not work out.
I feel like I'm in trouble.
Why?
I don't know. It just was all very, yeah. Kind of
No,
like you just keep bringing up how you've been screwed in the past. And
I have, but what does that have to do with you?
I just, it just, I don't know, it felt weird.
Oh, sorry. No, I definitely think you help out and you put in, and I don't keep track of anything that I do for you because I feel like you just do for me. I don't think there's any need to.
Yeah, but you just were like, and if you're not, then goodbye. It was just very weird.
Yeah, I'm just saying in general. I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying that's like how I would treat somebody I don't know. Is just like, hey, if you're not, I'm not talking to you. I'm like speaking
Yeah, I
in
felt
general.
like you were talking to me.
Oh, well, I guess you're in trouble. No, sorry, I'm not. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyway, so how do you feel about chickens and hydroponics and stuff?
Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like we have like our own little fortress here, our tiny little economy that we have going on, and it's exciting. The nutrition is, we're both on that bandwagon of how it's just elevated our lives from a nutritional standpoint. The chickens are cute too.
Well, you know, the one thing I like too is, and I'm sure there would be some hate from somebody, but we decided to feed our chickens food instead of feed. You know, so we've been experimenting with food to feed the chickens, and I think they're eating those lentils. So we're feeding them rice and lentils. And, you know, I don't know, talk about this on one of the podcasts or something, but if you cook your chickens rice and lentils, it's actually cheaper than feed. And it's real food.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, you know, like we said, I don't know if chickens need like oyster shells and I don't, you know, whatever, all this extra stuff. But if you look at, we were looking at the feed when we bought it last, and we're like, there's like corn and like a bunch of like filler and just a bunch of crap. Like, so to me, it actually just feels good to. I mean, we decided to take that step too into making sure our chickens are eating good. Because as we were saying, is like, well, I mean, why are we growing food and doing all this for nutrition, and then we're feeding our chickens
crappy food?
Yeah, just like, I mean, maybe it's not crappy. I don't know, but it's corn.
Yeah,
It's just like corn. You know,
yeah,
so,
we're trying to up our game here. So
yeah, and the thing is like, it's not actually that hard. We just put it in the rice cooker. I feed them, and I immediately just come in, put rice in there, put it in the rice cooker, and I let it just sit until the next day. Super easy. So I mean, you got to go out there and get the eggs anyway.
Yeah.
So that's been amazing too. But I mean, everything's just working out, and it's just interesting to, like I said, like start doing the hydroponics and the chickens and be self-sustaining in all these ways. And then you're kind of like, I feel like for me, part of my morning routine is, this isn't the right way to put it, but I almost feel like it's like a Native American kind of thing where like I'm growing food and I'm taking care of things that bring me food. And like some of my day is like, it's not working to go buy food, but it's working to have food.
Yeah, I mean, that's a major part of your morning is tending to your garden.
Yeah. Which is actually, one of these things is super enjoyable, one of them's not. And like working to go to the grocery store is not that enjoyable, but working at your own grocery store and your own food, like, man, it's super enjoyable to watch all the things grow and like just kind of tend them and make sure everything's going good. Like it's 100% enjoyable. And just, I mean, it's like we talked about, like how enjoyable would it be if you just went hunting and fishing and grew all your own food and chopped your own wood for heat? And, you know, it's
Surprisingly, if you would have asked me this like 10 years ago, I would have been like, what? But now I think pretty fucking enjoyable. Like, my mindset has shifted. Of course, 10 years ago, I was like an accountant and wanted to work for the FBI or the police department or something ridiculous. Now, I'd rather chop my own wood and go fishing and tend to a garden.
yeah. I guess we're getting old too, though.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Yeah, don't want to leave the house. Don't want to go to the bar and party. Kind of over that. Well, what are we at here? 50-ish minutes. Call it good. Do a shorter one today.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Same old, you know. If you want to like it or subscribe or anything to us, or
Please subscribe.
yeah, whatever.
Comment.
You know, if you want to get on Facebook, you can do that too. You don't have to. Mostly just YouTube, Flirting with Realities, or Spotify, Flirting with Realities. So that's this Thursday, and we will see you next Thursday.
Thank you.